Hey, Shalom and Shalom. I want to start off source by giving all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth while sincerity. So another quick one. This time inspired from what do you call it? The final Thor standalone film, right? Where basically at the end, spoiler alert, but it's old. Um, Basically, what was it? Thor says, Asgard is a basically says Asgard is a people, not a place, which is a saying that brothers, or starting off with the apostles, said for the longest time regarding Israel, right? Israel is a people, and before it's a place, right? So it's the second Maccabees 5:19. It says, nevertheless, the Most High did not choose the people for the place's sake, but the place for the people's sake, right? So the people are more important than what do you call it than the actual land, right? All of the children of Israel, we ain't as a bulk of people, we haven't inhabited in that land together as a nation, right, for a very very long time, right? But the Lord's gonna have it whereby would you call it when we're gonna return into the land that was promised unto us, right? But notice how the land came after the man, right? The man was Israel, right? It originally named Jacob, right? But then after a period and process of time, right, the children of Israel finally got the land, which got referred to as the land of Israel, right? But Israel is a people before it's a place. It's Revelation 21:1. It says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth." Right. So basically, Esau's world is gonna be taken away, man. Right, because you read the scriptures. It says, "The earth abideth forever." In Ecclesiastes, right, it says, "For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away." So Second Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world, right? And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. It says, "And there was no more sea." And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, right? So this is basically referring to the children of Israel, right? It's ain't going to be like in that other Avengers movie, right, where the city got raised up into the clouds. No, that's not what it's referring to, right? It's referring to the children of Israel, right? Coming down from them ships, right? This is, where is it? I can't find it. It basically reiterates the same point about how basically the children of Israel gonna be, the city's gonna be brought down, right, from heaven once again, right? Basically, it's the same point. So it's not. Yeah, there it is, verse 10. It says, "And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God." Right? Because when you when you have the understanding, right, when this destruction happens, right, you can read that in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, right, we shall all be changed, right? Change and get beamed up into those chariots. First Thessalonians 4:16, 4:17. So when it's destruction, I might as well just get it. So let me get that. This one, verse 4:16. It says, "For the Lord himself," 1 Thessalonians 4:16, "For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout." Right, when you read Acts 1:9, right, Scripture says the same way he's leaving is the same way he shall return. Or it's around 1:9. I think it's either 1:9 or further down, right? Because basically the apostles that were there when Yahweh Shai got beamed up, right, they were gazing, and the angel says, "Why are you gazing? The same way he left is the same way he gonna return, i.e., in a chariot." Right? Which is why it's important to know the scriptures, because if he doesn't come in a chariot, then that ain't it. That ain't Yahweh Shai. Which is why you get all of these bugged out Christians going into cults, killing themselves. Some guy that's calling themselves, a Mashiach, but they ain't Mashiach. But them guys didn't know the scriptures. The scriptures tell you how the Lord's gonna come back and how the Lord looks, right? Which he is a so-called black man. All right, so for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Yahweh Shai shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, right? And so shall we ever be with the Lord, right? So basically, we're going to be beamed up into the chariots, right? That's how we're going to get that salvation. That's how we're going to be able to survive this nuclear destruction, right? This is Revelation 15:2, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, right? And it's talking about the firmament during the time of the destruction, right? It says, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. Right now, this is talking. I said it's talking about the firmament, right? But to be more specific, it's talking about basically the men, right? Basically, the people that were saved, because it's not just men that are going to be saved, right? The 144,000 governing body is going to be the men, right? But then you're going to have, those that have been deemed for salvation, right? The innumerable multitude of Israelites, their men, their sons, their daughters, their wives, right? And, whoever, the Lord deems, fit to save, of a man's household, right? And it's them, they're going to be in the chariots and they're going to be basically looking down, watching the destruction, right? So it's just basically proving the fact that we're going to be in them chariots at the time of the destruction. But then there's going to come a time when we basically have to come back to the earth, right? It says Isaiah 14:1, it says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Yeah, so I brought this one. It says set them in their own land, right? Because this is Israel, right? It says, so I'll read that again. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, right? So for all of the different, wickedness that the children of Israel have done, ultimately, Lord will have mercy on the children of Israel. When the children of Israel will end up, basically, the Lord will basically be able to fulfill his promise, which was to give us that land, right? But which that land got renamed for us, right? It got renamed. Why? But the man Israel existed before the place Israel, right? So just like in that quote, Asgard is a people, Asgard is not a place, right? That was that was straight from the scriptures, man, right? But the apostles been telling you that the fact that these Hollywood producers, they get their inspiration from the scriptures, right? But yeah, as always, Lord's will, that was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.